imaginary forces work. Suppose within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts. Into 1,000 parts divide one man and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them, take their proud hoofs in the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping over times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply admit me chorus to this history, who prologue like your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play. My lord, I'll tell you, that self-bill is urged, which in the 11th year of last king's reign was like, and had indeed against us passed, but that the scandalling and unquiet time did push it out of further questions.
How, my lord, shall we resist it now?
It must be thought on. If it passed against us, we lose the better half of our possession, for all the temporal lands which men devout by testament have given to the church, would they strip from us.
This would drink deep.
'Twould drink the cup and all.
But what prevention?
The king is full of grace and fair regard,
And a true lover of the Holy Church.
the courses of his youth promised it not. The breath no sooner left his father's body, but that his wildness, mortified in him, seemed to die too. Yea, at that very moment, consideration like an angel came and whipped the offending Adam out of him, leaving his body a paradise to envelop and contain celestial spirits.
We are blessed in change.
Indeed, it is a wonder to behold, since his addiction was to courses vain, his companies unlettered, rude, and shallow, his hours filled up with riots, banquets, sports, and never noted in him any study, any retirement, any sequestration from open haunts and popularity.
The strawberry doth grow underneath the nettle, and wholesome berries do thrive and ripen best, when neighboured by fruit of baser qualities.
It must be so, for miracles are ceased, and we must needs admit the means how things are perfected.
But my lord, how now for mitigation of this bill urged by the commons? Doth his majesty incline to it or no?
Oh, he seems indifferent, or rather swaying more upon our part than cherishing the exhibitors against us. For I have made an offer to his majesty, as touching France, to give a greater sum than the clergy yet to his predecessors part withal.
How did this offer seem received, my lord?
With good acceptance of his majesty, save that there was not time enough to hear, as I perceived his grace would fain have done, the severals and unhidden passages of his true titles to some certain dukedoms, and generally the crown and seat of France derived from Edward, his great-grandfather.
What was the impediment that broke it off?
The French ambassador upon that instant craved audience. And the hour, I think, has come to give them hearing. Is it 4 o'clock?
Oh, it is.
Where is my gracious lord of Canterbury?
God and his angels guard your sacred throne and make you long become it.
Sure, we thank you. My learned lord, we pray you to proceed and justly and religiously unfold why the law Salic they have in France, or should not, bar us in our claim. And God forbid, my dear and faithful lord, that you should fashion rest, or bow your reading, or nicely charge your understanding soul with opening titles miscreant. For God doth know how many now in health shall drop their blood in approbation of what your reverence shall incite us to.
Then hear me, gracious sovereign, and you peers that owe yourselves, your lives and services to this imperial throne. There is no bar to make against your highness' claim to France, but this which they produce from Pharamond, in terram salicum mulieres ne succedunt. No woman shall succeed in Salic land, which Salic land the French unjustly gloss to be the realm of France, and Pharamond the founder of this law and female bar. Yet their own authors faithfully affirm that the land Salic is in Germany, between the clouds of Sala and Elva, where Charles the Great, having subdued the Saxons, there left behind and settled certain French, who, holding in disdain the German woman for some dishonest manners of their life, there established this law. To it, no female should be inheritrix in Salic land, which Salic, as I said, twixt Elva and Sala, is at this day in Germany called Meissen. And doth it well appear, the Salic law was not devised for the realm of France, nor did the French possess the Salic land until 421 years after defunction of King Pharamond, idly supposed to the founder of this law, who died within the year of our redemption, 426, and Charles the Great subdued the Saxons and did siege the French beyond the river Saler in the year 805. Besides, their writers say King Pepin, which disposed Childeric, being as heir general descended of Blithold, daughter to King Clothaire, may claim and title to the crown of France. So that as clear as is the summer's sun, King Pepin's title, Hugh Capet's claim, King Louis his satisfaction, all appear to hold in right and title of the female. So do the kings of France unto this day.
May I, with right and conscience, make this claim?
The sin upon my head, dread sovereign, for in the book of Numbers it is writ, when the man dies, let the inheritance descend unto the daughter. Gracious Lord, stand for your own. Unwind your bloody flag, look back into your ancestors.
Go, my dread lord, to your great grandsire's tomb from whom you claim. Invoke his warlike spirit, and to your uncles, Edward the Black Prince, who on the French ground played a tragedy against the full power of France, while his most mighty father on a hill stood smiling to behold his lion's whelp, forage in blood of French nobility.
Awake remembrance of these valiant dead, and with your puissant arm renew their feats.
Your brother, kings and monarchs of the earth, all expect that you should rouse yourself, as did the former lines of your blood.
They know your grace hath cause and means and might. So hath your highness never king of England had nobles richer, or more loyal subjects, whose hearts have left their bodies here in England and lie pavilioned in the fields of France.
Oh, let their bodies follow, my liege, with blood and sword and fire to win your right. In aid whereof we of the spirituality will raise your highness such a mighty sum as never did the clergy bring into any of your ancestors.
Therefore, to France, my liege, divide your happy England into 4. Whereof take you 1/4 into France, and you withal shall make all Gaul shake.
Call in the messenger sent from the Dauphin. Now are we well resolved, and by God's help and yours, the noble sinews of our power, France being ours, will bend it to our will, or break it into pieces. Or there will sit, ruling in large and ample empery over France and all her almost kingly dukedoms, or lay these bones in an unworthy urn, tombs with no remembrance over them. Now are we well prepared to know the pleasure of our fair cousin Dauphin, for we hear your greeting is from him, not from the king.
May it please your majesty to give me leave freely to render what I have in charge, or shall I sparingly show you far off the Dolphin's meaning and our embassy?
We are no tyrant, but a Christian king, unto whose grace our passion is as subject as our riches fettered in our prisons. Therefore, with frank and with uncurbed plainness, tell us the Dauphin's mind.
Thus, then in few, your highness, lately sending into France, did claim some certain dukedoms in the right of your great predecessor King Edward III. In answer of which claim, the prince, my master, says that you savour too much of your youth, and bids you be advised there's naught in France that can be with a nimble galliard one. You cannot revel into dukedoms there. He therefore sends you meter for your spirit this ton of treasure, and in lieu of this desires that the dukedoms that you claim be no more of you. This the Dolphin speaks.
What treasure, uncle?
Tennis balls, my liege.
We are glad the Dauphin is so pleasant with us. His presence and your pains we thank you for. When we have matched our rackets to these balls, we will, in France, by God's grace, player set shall strike his father's crown into the hazard. Tell him he hath made a match with such a wrangler that all the courts of France shall be disturbed with chases. And we understand him well, how he comes over us with our wilder days, not measuring what use we made of them. And tell the pleasant prince this mock of his hath turned his balls to gunstones, and he shall stand sore charged for the wasteful vengeance that shall fly with them. For many 1,000 widows shall this, his mock out of their dear husbands, mock mothers from their sons, mock castles down!
And some yet ungotten and unborn that shall have cause to curse the Dauphin's scorn. But this lies all within the will of God, to whom I do appeal, and in whose name tell you the Dauphin I am coming on, to rend me as I may, and to put forth my rightful hand in a well-hallowed cause. So get you hence in peace, and tell the Dauphin his jest will savour but of shallow wit, and thousands weep more than do laugh at it. Convey them with safe conduct. Fare you well.
This was a merry message.
We hope to make the sender blush at it. Therefore, let our proportions for these wars be soon collected, and all things thought upon that may with reasonable swiftness add more feathers to our wings. For God before, we tried this Dauphin at his father's door.
Now all the youth of England.
I'm responsible patient.
Tuck calls me thou host. Now, by this hand I swear I scorn the term, nor shall my knell keep lodgers.
No, by my troth, not long, for we cannot lodge and board a dozen or 14 gentlewomen that live honestly by the prick of their nails. I simply thought we'd keep a boarding house straight. Oh, well, a day later you may not be home now, we shall see willful adultery and murder committed.
Good Lieutenant, good Corporal, offer nothing here.
Pish! Pish for thee, Iceland dog, thou prick-eared cur of Iceland.
Good Corporal Nim, show thy valour, put up thy sword.
Will ye show? Oh, heavy soulless! Oh, the great are vile and damned, furious white! The grave doth gape, and doting death is near, therefore exile!
Hey, hear me what I say. He that strikes the first stroke, I'll run him up to the hill, as I am a soldier.
No biblical might, and fury shall abate. Give me thy fist. Thy forefoot for me, to me give. Thy spiritual assault. Cut my throat, one time, or other in fair terms. That is the humour of it. Couple of goals! That is the word. I need to fight again. Oh, how to preach things my spouse to get. I have, and I will hold the quandary quickly. For she and only she. Hark, but there's enough. Go to.
Myra's pistol! You must come to my master Falstaff and your hostess. He's very sick and water med. Good Bardolph, put thy face between his sheets and do the office of a warming pan. Faith, he's very ill.
Oh, wait, you both.
By my troth, there'll all be the trouble pudding one of these days. The king hath killed his heart. A good husband come home presently.
Come. Shall I make you two friends? We must have France together. Why the devil should we keep knives to cut one another's throats?
Let blood the roastings the food. How long? You'll pay me the 8 shillings. I want to get back. This is the slave that pays. That now I will have. That's the humour of it. That man who shall compound. Push on! This sword, he that strikes the first stroke, I'll kill him! By this sword I will! Sword is an oath. Oaths must have their cause.
Corporal Nim, if thou wilt be friends, then be friends. If thou wilt not, why then be enemies with me too? Ready, put up.
A noble shalt thou have, and present pay, and liquor likewise will I give to thee. And friendship shall compound, and brotherhood. I'll live by Nim, and Nim shall live by me. Is this not just? For I, suffer unto the camp, and profits will accrue. Give me thy hand.
I shall have mine open.
In cash, most justly paid.
Well, that's the humour of it.
As ever you come of women coming quickly to Sir John. A poor heart, he is so shaped of a burning fever that is most lamentable to behold. Sweet man, come to him.
The king hath run bad humans on the line. That's the even of
Spoken right, his heart is fractured and corroborated.
The king is a good king. Well, it must be as it may.
Let us condole the night, for Lamb Kings we will live!
Prithee, honey, sweet husband, let me bring thee to stay.
No, for my manly heart of her.
Far off. Big life. Bim! Bim! Rouse thy wanting veins! Boy! Boy! Bristle up thy courage! For Falstaff, he is dead, and we must earn therefore.
Would I were with him? So there he is, either in heaven or in hell.
Make sure he's not in hell. He's in Arthur's bosom. If ever a man went to Arthur's bosom,
He made a finer end, and parted as if had been any Christian child. Even parted just between 12 and 1, even at the turning of the tide. For after I saw him fumble with his sheets and play with flowers and smile upon his fingers' end, I knew there was but one way. For his nose was as sharp as a pen, and he babbled of green fields. And now, Sir John, quoth I, what man? Be of good cheer. And I cried out, God, 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 3 or 4 times. And I, to comfort him, bid him should not think of God. I hoped there was no need to trouble himself with such thoughts yet. So I bade me lay more cloths on his feet, and I put my hand into the bed and felt them, and they were as cold as any stone. I felt up to his knees, and so up in and upward, and all was as cold as any stone.
They say you cry out against drink.
Aye, that I did.
And against women.
I did not.
yes, they did. And next to those devils incarnate,
He could never abide carnation. 'Twas a colour he never liked.
he said the devil would have him about women.
He did in some sort indeed handle women, but then he was romantic and talked of the whore of Babylon.
Shall we show? The king will be gone from that end.
Come! Let's away! My love, give me thy lips. Look to thy chattels and thy moves. Let senses rule. The world is pitch and pain. Trust none, for all it's the straws and men's plates are wafer cakes. Hold fast as my only dog, my duck. Therefore, if that will be thy counsel, go clear thy crystals. To France, like horse leeches, my boys, to suck, the very blood to suck.
That's but unwholesome food, they say.
Such a soft mouth, head, match.
Farewell, hostess.
I cannot kiss! That is the humor of it. But I do.
Boy, let house with appear. Keep close eye.
Farewell! Adieu!
Alice, dovrete l'Angleterre tu parles de langage.
Madame,
Je ne prie monseigneur faut que je prenne parler. Comment appelez-vous le mot en anglais?
le man, elle est appelée de hand.
De hand. Et le droite?
Le droite? Parfois je mets droite, mais je mets sur l'anglais de droite. Je pense qu'ils sont appelés de fang. Oui, de fang.
Le main de hand. Le droite de fang. Je pense que je suis le bon anglais. J'ai gagné tout dans les mots. Comment appelez-vous les ongles?
Les ongles,
Écoutez, dites-moi si je parle bien. De hand, de fingers et de nails.
C'est bien dit, madame. Il est trop bon anglais.
Dites-moi l'anglais pour le bras,
The arm, madame.
et les coudes.
D'elbow.
D'elbow. Je me fais la répétition de tous les mots que vous m'avez dit au présent.
Oh, il est trop difficile, madame. Comme je pense.
Excusez-moi, Alice. Écoutez. De hand, de fingers, de nails, de arm, de bilbo.
The elbow.
D'elbow. Comment appelez-vous?
The neck, madame.
De nick. Et le manteau.
The chin.
De cils. Le corps du nick. Le manteau de cils.
Oui, sans votre honneur, en vérité. Vous prononcez le mot aussi bien que les natives d'Angleterre.
J'ai le droit pour te prendre par les graisses en tout.
Oh, n'avez-vous pas déjà oublié de vous enseigner?
Non, je les citerai vous propos. De hand, de fingers, de maillots,
The nails, madame, nails.
de nails, de arm, de elbow.
C'est votre honneur. D'elbow.
Oh, c'est du jus. D'elbow, de nick et de cils. Comment appelez-vous le cœur et le dos?
Le foot, madame, et le compte. Les fouques et les comptes. Oh, c'est dur. Ils sont mauvais que un petit peu. Gros à apodique.
Et nos politains dont le usage et les vont prononcer aussi le mot de France pour tous les mots.
Les fouques et les comptes.
Néanmoins, je les citerai une autre fois me laissant ensemble. De hand, de fingers, de nails, de arm, d'elbow, de nick et de cils, du fouque et du compte. C'est la dernière fois, allez-nous dîner? I will trot tomorrow a mile, and my way shall be paved with English faces. 'Tis midnight. I'll go arm myself.
The Dauphin longs for morning. He longs to eat the English.
I think he will eat all he kills.
By the white hand of my lady, he's a gallant prince.
Swear by her foot that she may tread out the earth.
He's simply the most active gentleman of France.
Doing is activity, and he will still be doing.
He never did harm that I heard of.
Nor will do none tomorrow. He will keep that good name still.
My Lord High Constable, the English lie within 1,500 paces of your tents.
Who hath measured the ground?
The Lord Grand Prix.
A valiant and most expert gentleman. Oh, would it were day! Alas, poor Harry of England longs not for the dawning as we do. Now is it time to arm? Come, shall we about it?
'Tis not 2 o'clock, but let me see by 10. We shall have each 100 Englishmen.
Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe.
From camp to camp, through the foul loom of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds, that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch.
Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames each battle sees the other's umbred face.
Steed threatens steed in high and boastful neighs, piercing the night's dull ear. And from the tents the armourers accomplishing the night, busy hammers closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation.
The country cocks do crow, the clocks do toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning name. Proud of their number and secure in soul, the confident and overlusty French, did the low-rated English play at dice?
And chide the crippled, tardy, gaty knight, who like a foul and ugly witch doth limp so tediously away.
The poor condemned English, like sacrifices by their watchful fires, sit patiently and inly ruminate the morning's danger. And their gesture sad, investing lank, lean cheeks and war-worn coats, presented unto them the gazing moon, so many horrid ghosts.
Oh now, who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent? Let him cry praise and glory on his head. For forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them
Brothers, friends, countrymen.
Upon his royal face there is no note. Our dread an army hath enrounded him.
Nor doth he dedicate one jot of colour unto the weary and o'er-watched night, but freshly looks and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty.
That every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks.
A largesse universal like the sun, his liberal eye doth give to everyone, thawing cold fear, that mean and gentle all behold, as may unworthiness define a little touch of Harry in the night.
And so our scene must to the battle fly, where, oh, for pity, we shall much disgrace with 4 or 5 most ragged foils, right ill-disposed in brawl ridiculous, the name of Agincourt. Yet sit and see, minding true things by what their mockeries be.
Gloucester, it is true that we are in great fashion. There is much care and valour in this Welshman.
Brother John Bates, is that not the morning which breaks yonder?
I think it be, but we have no great cause to desire the approach of day.
We see yonder at the beginning of day, but I think we shall never see the end of it.
Who goes there? A friend?
Under what captain serve you?
Under Sir Thomas Erpingham.
A good old commander, and most kind gentleman. I pray you, what thinks he of our state?
Even as men wrecked upon a sand, that look to be washed off the next tide.
He hath not told this thought to the king?
No. Nor is it not meet he should, for though I speak it to you, I think the king is but a man as I am. The violet smells to him as it doth to me. The element shows to him as it doth to me. All his senses have but human conditions. In his nakedness he appears but a man. Though his affections are higher mounted than ours, yet when they stoop with the like wing. Therefore, when he sees reasons of fears, as we do, his fears out of doubt be of the same relish as ours are. Yet, in reason, no man should possess him with any appearance of fear, lest he, by showing it, should dishearten his army.
He may show what outward courage he will, but I believe, as cold a night as 'tis, he could wish himself in Thames up to the neck, and so I would he were, and I by him, by all adventures, so we were quit here.
By my troth, I will speak my conscience of the king. I think he would not wish himself anywhere but where he is.
Then I would he were here alone. So should he be sure to be ransomed, and many a poor man's life saved.
I dare say you love him not so ill to wish him here alone. Howsoever you speak this to feel other men's minds, methinks I could not die anywhere so contented as in the king's company, his cause being just and his quarrel honourable.
That's more than we know.
Aye, or more than we should seek after. For we know enough if we know we are the king's subjects. If his cause be wrong, our obedience to the king wipes the crime of it out of us.
But if the cause be not good, then the king himself hath a heavy reckoning to make. When all those legs and arms and heads chopped off in a battle shall join together at the latter day and cry all, we died at such a place. Some swearing, some crying for surgeons, some upon their wives left poor behind them, some upon the debts they owe, some upon their children, rolling left. I am afraid there are few die well that die in a battle. For how can they charitably dispose of anything when blood is their argument? Now if these men do not die well, it will be a black matter for the king that led them to it. Who to disobey were against all proportion of subjection.
So if a son, that is by his father, sent about merchandise, do sinfully miscarry upon the sea, the imputation of his wickedness, by your rule, should be imposed upon his father that sent him. Or if a servant, under his master's command, transporting a sum of money, be assailed by robbers and die in many irreconciled inequities, you may call the business of the master the author of the servant's damnation. But this is not so. The king is not bound to answer the particular endings of his soldiers, the father of his son, nor the master of his servant. For they purpose not their death when they purpose their services. Every subject's duty is the king's, but every subject's soul is his own. Therefore should every soldier in the wars do as every sick man in his bed, wash every mote out of his conscience. And dying so, death is to him advantage, or not dying, the time was blessedly lost, wherein such preparation was gained.
And in him that escapes, it were not sin to think that making God so free an offer, he let him outlive that day, to see his greatness and to teach others how they should prepare.
'Tis certain, every man that dies ill, the ill upon his own head, the king is not to answer it.
I do not wish you should answer for me, and yet I determine to fight lustily for him.
I heard the king say he would not be ransomed.
Aye, he said so, to make us fight cheerfully. But when our throats are cut, he may be ransomed, and we're never the wiser.
If ever I live to see it, I will never trust his word after.
Do you pay him then? That's a perilous shot out of an elder gun that a poor and private displeasure can do against a monarch. You may as well go about to turn the sun to ice, with fanning in his face with a peacock's feather. I'll never trust his word after. Come, 'tis a foolish saying.
Your reproof is something too round. I should be angry with you, if the time were convenient.
Let it be a quarrel between us if you live.
I embrace it.
How shall I know thee again?
Give me any gage of thine, and I shall wear it in my bonnet. Then, if ever thou darest acknowledge it, I will make it my quarrel.
Here is my glove. Give me another of thine.
There.
This will I also wear my cap. If ever thou come to me tomorrow and say, this is my glove, by this hand I'll take thee a box on the ear.
I will, though I find me in the king's company.
Thou darest well be
If I ever live to see it, I will challenge it.
Keep thy word. Fare thee well.
Be friends, you English fools, be friends! We have French quarrels enough if you could tell how to reckon. The sons of Gildale armour, up, my lords!
My horse! Now, my lord constable,
Hark how our steeds your present service neigh.
mount them and make incision in their hides, that their hot blood may spin in English eyes, and doubt them with superfluous courage.
Ha! What will you have them weep our horses' blood? How shall we then behold their natural tears?
The English are embattled, you French peers!
To horse, you gallant princes, straight to horse. Do but behold yon poor and starved band, and your fair show shall suck away their souls, leaving them but the shells and husks of men. A very little let us do, and all is done. Then let the trumpet sound, the tuckets on you aunt, and the note to mount. For our approach shall sum up dare the field, that England shall crouch down in fear and yield.
Why do you stay so long, my lords of France? Yond island carrions, desperate of their bones, ill-favouredly become the morning field. Their ragged curtains poorly are let loose, and our air shakes them passing scornfully.
The horsemen sit like fixed candlesticks, with torch staves in their hands, and their poor jades lob down their heads, dropping their hides and hips.
While their executors, the knavish crows, fly over them all, impatient in their hour.
Description cannot suit itself into words to demonstrate the life of such a battle, in life so lifeless as it shows itself.
They have said their prayers and they stay for death.
Shall we go send them dinners and fresh suits and give their fasting horses provender, and after fight with them?
I stay but for my guard. On to the field I will the banner from the trumpet take, and use it for my haste. Come, come away, the sun is high, and we outwear the day!
Where is the king?
The king himself has rode to view their battle.
Of fighting men they have full 70,000.
It's 5-1. Besides, they're all fresh.
God's arm strike with us, 'tis a fearful odds. Goodbye, you princes all, I'll to my charge. And if we no more meet till we meet in heaven, then joyfully, my noble lord of Bedford, my good lord Gloucester, my kind lord Exeter, and my kind kinsmen, warriors all, adieu.
Farewell, good Salisbury, and good luck go with thee.
Farewell, kind lord. Fight valiantly today. And yet I do thee wrong to mind thee of it, for thou art framed of the truth firm of valour.
He is full of valour as of kindness, princely in both.
Oh, that we now had here but 10,000 of the... Oh, diable!
Ah, Seigneur! Le jeu est erdé! Tout est erdé!
Oh, ma vie! All is confounded, all! Reproach and everlasting shame sits mocking in our blooms! Oh, make sure fortune do not run away!
Why all our ranks are broke?
Oh, ponderable shame! Let's stun ourselves! Be these the wretches that we played at dice for?
Is this the king we sent to for his ransom?
Shame, eternal shame, nothing but shame. Let us die in honour, once more back again. and he that will not follow Bourbon now, let him go hence, and with his cap in hand, like a base pander, hold the chamber door, whilst by a base slave no gentler than my dog, his fairest daughter, is contaminated.
Disorder that hath spoiled us, friend us now. Let us on heaps go offer up our lives.
We are enough yet living in the field to smother up the English in our throngs, if any order might be thought upon.
Oh, the devil take order now. I'll to the throng. Let life be short, else shame will be too long.
Now, Harold, with the dead number.
Here is the number of the slaughtered French.
What prisoners of good sort are taken?
Charles, Duke of Orleans, nephew to the king, John, Duke of Bourbon, and Lord Bushiqual. Of other lords and barons, knights and squires, full 1,500, besides common men.
This note doth tell me 10,000 French that in the field lie slain. Of princes in this number, and nobles bearing banners, there lie dead 126. Added to these, of knights, esquires, and gallant gentlemen, 8,400. Of the which 500 were but yesterday dubbed knights. So that in these 10,000 they have lost, there are but 1,600 mercenaries. The rest are princes, barons, lords, knights, esquires, and gentlemen of blood and quality. The names of those their nobles that lie dead: Charles de la Breth, High Constable of France; Jacques of Chatillon, Admiral of France; the Great Master of Crossbows, the brave Sir Guichard Dauphin; John, Duke of Alençon; Edward, Duke of Bar; and Anthony, Duke of Brabant, brother to the Duke of Burgundy. Of lusty earls, Grand Prix and Rousy, Vandemont and Lestral. He was a royal fellowship of death. Where is the number of our English dead? Edward, the Duke of York; the Earl of Suffolk, Sir Richard Ketley; Davy Gam, Squire. None else of name but 25. Oh God, thy arm was here, and not to us, but thy arm alone. A scribe wheel, when without stratagem, but in even play of battle, was ever known so great and little loss. On one part and the other, take it, God, for it is none but thine.
'Tis wonderful.
Come, go in procession to the village, and be it death proclaimed through our host, to boast of this, or to take that praise from God which is his only.
Is it not lawful and please your majesty to tell how many is killed?
Yes, Captain, but with this acknowledgement that God fought for us.
Yes. By my conscience he did us great good.
Do we all holy rites? Let there be sung, non nobis and Te Deum. The dead with charity enclosed in clay. And then to Calais, and to England then, where ne'er from France arrived more happy men.
Te Deum laudamus,
Te Dominum confitemur, Te aeternam Patrem, omnis terra veneratu, tibi omnes angeli, tibi celi et omnes potestates, tibi cherubim et seraphim, incessabili voce proclamant, Sanctus, 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 Dominus Deus Sabaoth.
Vouchsafe to those that have not read the story, that I may prompt them, and of such as have, I humbly pray, to admit the excuse of time, of numbers, and due course of things, which cannot in their huge and proper life be here presented.
Now we bear the king toward Calais. Grant him there seen, Heave him away upon your winged thoughts, athwart the sea.
Behold, the English beach pales in the flood with men, wives and boys, whose shouts and claps outvoice the deep-mouthed sea, which like a mighty whiffler for the king seems to prepare his way. So let him land, and solemnly see him set on to London.
So swift a pace hath thought, that even now you may imagine him upon Blackheath, where that his lords desire him to have borne his bruised helmet, and his bended sword before him through the city. He forbids it, being free from vainness and self-glorious pride, giving full trophy, signal and ostent quite from himself to God.
As yet the lamentation of the French invites the King of England stay at home. The Emperor is coming on behalf of France to order peace between them, and amid all the occurrences, whatever chanced, till Harry's back return again to France. There must we bring him, and myself have played the interim, by remembering you, 'tis past. Nay, that's right.
Fair Catherine and most fair, will you vouchsafe to teach a soldier terms such as would enter at a lady's ear and plead her love suit to her gentle heart?
Your Majesty shall mock at me. I cannot speak your England.
Oh, Catherine, if you would love me soundly with your French heart, I'd happily hear you confess it brokenly with your English tongue. Do you like me, Kate?
Pardonnez-moi, I cannot tell. What is like me?
An angel is like you, Kate, and you are like an angel.
Qu'est-il que je suis semblable au ange? Oui, ça votre grâce. Ainsi fait-il.
Yes, I said it so, fair one, and I must not blush to affirm it.
Oh, bon Dieu, la langue se complète in the trompe.
What says she, fair one? That the tongues of men are full of deceits.
Oui, that the tongues of the men is be full of deceits. That is the princess.
The princess is the better Englishwoman. In faith, Kate, my wooing is fit for thou understanding. I am glad thou canst speak no better English, for if thou couldst, thou wouldst think me such a plain king. Thou wouldst think I had sold my farm to buy my crown. I know no ways of mincing it in love, but directly to say, I love you. Then, if you'd urge me farther, then to say, do you in faith? I wear out my suit. Come, give me your answer.
So for to honor, me understand well.
Marry, if you would put me into verses, Kate, or to dance for your sake. Why, you undid me. If I could win a lady at leapfrog, or by vaulting onto my saddle with my armor on my back, under the correction of bragging, be it spoken, I should quickly lead you to a wife. I speak to thee, plain soldier, if thou canst have me for this, take me. Take a soldier, take a king. What sayest thou then too, my love?
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
No, Kate. It is not possible you should love the enemy of France. But in loving me, you should love the friend of France, for I love France so well that I would not part with a village of it. I would have it all mine. And Kate, when France is mine and I am yours, then yours is France, and you are mine.
I cannot tell. What is that?
I will tell thee in French. Les grandes sur la position de France, la position qu'on vise, la position de moi. It is easy for me, Kate, to conquer a kingdom than to speak so much French. I will never move thee in French again unless it be to laugh at me.
So for your honor, le François que vous parle is meilleur l'anglais que je parle.
Kate, dost thou understand thus much English? Canst thou have me?
I cannot tell.
Can any of your neighbours tell, Kate? I'll ask them. What sayest thou then too, my flower de luce?
I do not know that.
No, 'tis hereafter and now to know. Le place belle de Catherine avis.
Your Majesty are French enough to deceive demoiselle that is in France.
Now fie upon my false French, by mine honour, in true English. I love thee, Kate. Put off your maiden blushes, avouch the thoughts of your heart with the looks of an empress. Take my hand and say, Harry of England, I am thine. England is thine. France is thine. Ireland is thine. Henry Plantagenet is thine. Come, your answer, wilt thou have me?
That is it shall please the Roman pair.
Nay, it shall please him, Kate, it shall please him.
Then it shall also content me.
Then I shall kiss your hand and call you my queen.
Laissez, monseigneur, laissez, mon foi, je ne vous pourrez-vous apaiser votre grandeur, le man d'une votre signorie, digne serviteur, excusez-moi, je vous supplie, mon très puissant.
Then I shall kiss your lips.
Madame, mademoiselle, pour être baisée, le news n'est pas la coutume de France.
Madam, my interpreter, what says she?
That it is not the custom for the ladies of France. I cannot tell what is puis en English.
To kiss.
Oui, your majesty entend better que moi.
Is it not the fashion in the maidens for France to kiss before they are married, would she say?
Oui, vraiment.
Kate, nice custom to curtsy to great kings. Dear Kate, you and I cannot be confined within the weak list of a country's fashion. We are the makers of manners, Kate. And the liberty that holds our places stops the mouths of all fine faults, as I will do yours in upholding the nice fashion of your country and denying me a kiss. Therefore, patiently and yielding. There's witchcraft in your lips. Here comes your father.
God save your majesty, my royal cousin. Teach you our princess English.
I would have her learn perfectly how much I love her, and that is good English.
We have consented to all terms of reason.
Is it so, my lords of England?
The king hath granted every article, his daughter first, and in sequel all, according to their firm proposed natures.
Shall Kate be my wife?
Take her, fair son, and from her blood raise up issue to me, that the contending kingdoms of England and France, whose very shores look pale with envy of each other's happiness, may cease their hatred, that this dear conjunction plant neighbourhood and Christian-like accord in their sweet bosoms. Let never war advance his bleeding sword twixt England and fair France.
Amen. Amen. Now welcome, Kate, and witness all as I bestow a kiss and call her my sovereign queen.
God, the best maker of all marriages, combine your hearts in one, your realms in one, as man and wife being two, are one in love. So be there twixt your kingdoms such a spousal, that never may ill office or fell jealousy, which troubles oft the bed of blessed marriage, thrust between the patient of these two kingdoms, to make divorce of their incorporate league. That English may as French, French Englishmen, receive each other. God speak this, amen.
Amen. Prepare we for our marriage, on which this day, my lord of Burgundy, we shall take your oath, and to all peers for the surety of our leagues, that I shall swear to Kate, and Kate to me. And may our oaths well kept and prosperous be.
Thus far, with rough and all unable pen, our bending author hath pursued the story, in little room confining mighty men, mangling by starts the full course of their glory. A small time, but in that small most greatly lived this star of England. Fortune made his sword, by which the world's best garden he achieved, and of it left his son imperial lord. Henry the Sixth, in infant bands crowned king of France and England, did this king succeed, whose state so many had the managing that they lost France, and made his England bleed, which oft our stage hath shown, and for their sake, in your fair minds let this acceptance take.